Welcome, everyone. It's time to settle in because we are going to break a little bread today. We're walking through just one of the most incredible stories ever told.
That's right. Today we're looking at the whole journey, from those first storm clouds way back then, right up to the bright rainbow colors of God's promise.
We'll cover the warning God gave, the building of that amazing ark, the flood itself, all that waiting Noah did.
And yeah, the lasting covenant, that special promise God made with Noah.
So our goal today is really to recap the whole story of Noah. We'll focus on the commands God gave him and the amazing trust Noah showed by obeying.
hmm But before we dive into the story step by step, let's ground ourselves in the ultimate truth of it all, God's promise.
Okay. Let's start with the memory verse. This is like the heart of that promise, isn't it? It really captures the end of the storm and just how sure God's care is.
Absolutely. Today's Bible verse, I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. That's Genesis chapter 9, verse 13.
Such a beautiful verse. It tells us where the whole story is heading. But, to really feel the power of that promise, we need to understand the words God used.
Good idea. Let's go through maybe 5 key words. These will help unlock the whole story for us.
Sounds good. Understanding these words helps us see it's not just about what happened, but about who God is, his character.
Exactly.
Okay, first word is obey. What does that mean here?
It means to listen to God and do what he says. Simple as that.
Right. And, well, in a story with a great big covering of water, we have the word ark.
That was a very large wooden boat God used to keep life safe.
And that covering of water, we call that the flood.
A great covering of water over the land. Yeah.
Then there's this really important moment, sort of the turning point in the middle of the storm where the Bible says God kept caring. That gives us our fourth word, remembered.
Which means God keeps caring and does not forget. He's always mindful.
And finally, that amazing, beautiful, skywide promise, the covenant.
That's God's special promise that never, ever breaks.
Wow. That's a powerful set of words, especially covenant. That word tells us everything Noah did. The building, the waiting, it was all wrapped up in this faithful promise from God himself.
Exactly. It holds it all together. And now let's jump into the story recap, starting right at the beginning, the prologue. Why was a rescue even needed?
Well, the story starts back in Genesis chapter 6, and it paints a clear but pretty sad picture. God looked down at the earth and saw that it was just full of violence. He saw that people's thoughts were set on evil all the time, continually.
It's a heavy moment. God sees the deep sorrow in the world he made. The Bible even says God was grieved, like his heart hurt because of how things were.
Yeah.
But even in that grief, God plans mercy. He chose one person, Noah. The Bible calls him a just man, someone who walked with God.
I just love that contract. The world was dark, turned away from God, but Noah was found walking with God. That little phrase, walked with God, it tells you so much about his character, his faith.
Yeah, it really does. It shows the relationship was already strong. So God's warning about the flood wasn't just about judgment. It was mostly about saving and protecting life through this righteous man who, trusted him.
Which brings us right to our day one recap, the warning. God tells Noah his plan. He says a flood is coming and Noah needs to build something. Well, something totally extraordinary.
And God didn't just say, hey, build a boat. He gave him, architectural blueprints, very careful, specific plans for the ark.
The size was just massive.
Yeah.
300 cubits long.
50 cubits wide.
And 30 cubits high. Can you even picture that? A cubit is what, like from your elbow to your fingertip?
Roughly, yes.
300 of those lined up. This was an immense project. We're talking about something maybe like 3 football fields long. Huge.
And it had to be that big. And God specified all the details.
Right.
It needed rooms inside, 3 levels, a lower, a second, and a third story, a door in the side, a window up above.
And something crucial for survival, right? That pitch stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Pitch, like a tar, had to be put on the inside and the outside. Why? To prevent even a single leak. Totally waterproof.
These details, they just show how much God cared. He gave the exact plans for survival. And those plans included, life support for more than just Noah's family.
Correct. Noah was told, bring pairs of animals, 2 of every sort, and gather enough food for your family and for all the creatures. Think of the logistics. Enough food for that long journey ahead.
Yeah, it was a miracle of planning before the rain even started. But, mixed in with all the measurements and the animal lists, God gave Noah the biggest instruction, didn't he? He promised the covenant.
Yes. Right there at the start. God promised his faithful care over Noah's family would be established through this whole rescue. The ark wasn't just wood and pitch. It was like the foundation of his unbreakable promise.
And Noah's response. It's just the perfect example of faith.
Yeah.
He believed God before one single raindrop fell, before there was any sign of a storm.
And the Bible sums up that total trust in one strong sentence. It says, "Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he." Just complete obedience.
Amazing. Okay, moving to day 2. Now we cover the end of the building phase and the start of the boarding. God calls Noah and his whole family to get into the ark.
Right, because, as the text says, Noah was righteous in his generation. God saw his faithfulness.
And the boarding process, again, was incredibly specific. God told Noah, bring the clean animals by 7s and the other animals by 2s, birds also by 7s. Why the difference?
Well, that distinction was important for life after the storm, for sacrifices later, and just to make sure creation could continue and flourish again.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then there was a timeline given, a countdown.
Yeah, 7-day countdown. God said after those 7 days, the rain would fall for 40 days and 40 nights.
Wow. Imagine those last 7 days. Knowing the ark door was open, but the rest of the world was probably just carrying on, maybe even laughing. Tension.
The gravity of that week must have been immense. And when the day finally came, the Bible tells us Noah was 600 years old.
600.
And the flood began. It says the fountains of the great deep broke up and the windows of heaven opened.
Whoa. That sounds like water coming from everywhere.
Yeah.
Below and above. A terrifying, massive event happening all at once.
It really paints a picture of total inundation. But here's the comforting part. The creatures came, it says, after their kinds, 2 by 2, everything with the breath of life. They came right into the ark with Noah's family, obediently.
They just knew where to go.
Seems like it. And the most tender detail, the part that just underlines that God was directing this whole thing.
What's that?
The Bible says, and the Lord shut him in. God himself closed the door.
Wow.
Yeah. So Noah's choice to obey literally became his perfect shelter, sealed by God.
That's such a powerful image. The transition from preparing to being kept safe.
Exactly. Which leads us right into day 3, the time of the flood itself. The water started rising. The rain fell for 40 days.
And the waters didn't just rise a little. They increased and prevailed so greatly that the ark was lifted up high. It just floated on the surface of the water.
And to understand just how high, the waters prevailed exceedingly. The source says they were 15 cubits above the mountaintops.
15 cubits. That's like 22 feet or something above the highest peaks.
Yeah, covering all the high hills under the whole heaven. This wasn't just a local flood, it was total. Everything on dry land perished.
It's hard to even imagine.
It is. And it reminds us that, while God's judgment was real, his care for those inside that sealed ark never failed, not for a single moment.
And the water stayed high for a long time, right? 150 days.
5 months. 5 months of just water everywhere. But then comes the turning point, that moment we defined earlier.
Yes, remembered.
The Bible says it so simply. And God remembered Noah. And like we said, this doesn't mean God forgot and then suddenly thought, oh yeah, Noah.
Right, it's not like losing your keys.
Yeah. Exactly. It means God actively turned his attention, his care, his plan toward Noah. He continued his faithful action.
And when God remembers, things start to change. What happened next?
God sent a wind to pass over the earth. The deep fountains, the ones that broke open, they were stopped. The rain from heaven was held back. And finally, the waters began to go down, slowly but surely.
And the ark.
The ark found a resting place. It came to rest on the mountains of Ararat.
So after months of nothing but water, finally there's a sign of land again.
Exactly. Hope appeared, maybe like seeing faraway peaks when the tops of the mountains were finally seen. That was in the 10th month.
Wow. Okay, so after all that chaos and waiting inside, we'll move to day 4. This part is all about patience, isn't it? Waiting and the slow signs of hope returning.
That's right. After waiting another 40 days after the mountaintops appeared, Noah opened the ark's window.
And he started testing things out.
He sent out a raven first. The Bible says it just went to and fro until the waters dried up more. It didn't really give Noah a clear answer about usable dry land.
Okay, so the raven wasn't much help. What about the dove?
Right. And next he sent a dove. He hoped she'd find a safe spot to land, a sign the ground was okay. But she couldn't find anywhere to rest her foot, so she came back to the ark.
Still too much water then.
Still too much water. But Noah was patient. He waited 7 more days. Then he sent the dove out again.
And this time?
This time was different. That evening, she came back, And in her beak, she had an olive leaf she had plucked off.
Oh, the olive leaf. That's such a famous part of the story.
It's so significant. It was the first real green sign of life and new growth after all that destruction. It meant the waters had gone down enough for trees to start putting out leaves again, a sign of restoration, hope.
Definitely. So did he send the dove out again?
Yes, one more time. After another 7 days, he sent her out. And this time, she didn't return.
Meaning she found a place to stay.
Exactly. That showed Noah definitively. There was now a place to live again on dry ground. The earth was ready.
The timing details here are interesting too. It says in the first month of Noah's 601st year, the waters were dried up from the earth. But they didn't just fling open the door, did they?
Nope. They waited for God's command. The earth was fully dry, it says, on the 27th day of the second month.
So more waiting even after the land was dry.
That's right. Only then, when God gave the word, did the family and all the creatures finally leave the ark and step out onto the new earth to begin again.
Which leads us perfectly to the climax, the grand finale of the whole story. Day 5, the Rainbow Covenant. They're on the new earth, and what happens?
Immediately God speaks, and he speaks a promise.
And this promise wasn't just for Noah, right?
No, not at all. It was for Noah, his sons, and importantly, for every living creature that came out of the ark. Every future generation, too.
And the promise was?
Never again. Never again would a flood destroy all flesh, destroy the whole earth like that. It's an everlasting, unconditional promise from God.
Wow. Everlasting. And he gave them and us a sign, didn't he? A visible, beautiful sign.
He did. He said, I do set my bow in the cloud, his rainbow. And it shall be for a token, like a sign or a symbol, of a covenant between me and the earth, for all generations, forever.
That's just incredible. The rainbow wasn't just a pretty thing that happened. God set it there. He placed it there as his sign.
That's critical. So when clouds gather, and maybe we feel a little nervous about a big storm, and then that rainbow appears, God says he remembers his everlasting covenant when he sees it.
So it's for him to remember, as much as for us.
Exactly. It marks God's faithful remembering. It's a reminder he keeps his promises. Storms will still come, sure, but God's promise, his mercy, stands forever.
So from that day on, those beautiful sky-wide colors just whisper that truth to anyone who looks up. God keeps his promises.
Beautifully put.
So, okay, we've walked through the whole story. From building that ark on dry land, trusting God, going through the flood, waiting patiently, seeing that olive leaf. What does this whole journey mean for us, today?
Well, a few things really stand out. First, I think God's warnings always come from love. He didn't warn Noah just to scare him. He called him away from harm and actively toward life and safety inside the ark.
That's a great point. And Noah himself shows us that obedience is really just trust put into action, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
He trusted God's blueprint. He trusted the timeline. He trusted the promise, even when it made no sense to anyone else. And that obedience became his shelter when the storm finally hit.
And all that time spent waiting inside the ark, it wasn't wasted time. God remembered him. He provided clear signs of hope, like that little olive leaf. And he finished exactly what he started, by bringing them safely out onto dry ground. God is faithful through the waiting.
So maybe the big takeaway is that we can hold on to hope. We can try to be promise keepers in our own small ways because our God is the ultimate promise keeper. He always keeps his word.
That's a wonderful way to see it. Let's hold on to that foundational verse one last time just to carry that truth with us.
Okay. Today's Bible verse again. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. Genesis chapter 9, verse 13.
And let's quickly run through our key vocabulary words one more time.
Obey.
Do what God says. God's large boat of safety.
Flood.
Water covering the land.
Remembered.
God keeps caring. Yes.
And covenant.
That's God's promise that never breaks.
Perfect.
So hold this truth close, everyone. God's faithful covenant, his promise, it shines after every storm. It's a beautiful, powerful reminder that his promises are absolutely sure. You can count on them.
That's right. So until next time, keep breaking a little bread, keep sharing his love, and keep walking in faith.